You know the history, 8 in a row for Utah. It's a source of pride for the Utes. For the Cougars, a nightmare that they want to see end on Thursday night.
Yeah, for 1 week, homes are divided, neighbors feud, and fans in the stands, they get a little unglued. Everyone in this state has a story, even those playing in it.
Absolutely. Take Francis Bernard, for instance. Grew up a Utah fan, but the Utes didn't offer. BYU did, so he became a Cougar. He scored a rushing touchdown in the Vegas Bowl in 2015. The next year, he made the move to defense and made a spectacular interception. Also had 8 tackles and a forced fumble in a game Utah won at the end 2019. Last year, he played in the game as a Ute and had 8 tackles. He has a unique perspective on the rivalry.
What's it like being on both sides and experiencing both sides?
Man, my very first experience was the 2015 Las Vegas Bowl, and just all the hype stuff going up. Like, we got here at the University of Utah, we have the hate video going up of the 8 in a row games. Yeah. They got down south, they got something very similar going on, all their wins and stuff. But it's funny now that I look back on it because there's no recent wins. So I think that's funny. I'm like, dang.
Well, Zach Wilson, he grew up going to these games wearing red, cheering for the U. He knows what it's like being in the stands and how crazy that can get. And now he knows what it's like being on the field and how wild that side can be. For him, he says this all just adds to the fun of the game.
Remember elementary, middle school, guys are always talking about who's going to win the game, and months before the game's even there, everyone's always, Utah's going to win, BYU's going to win, and so, it goes back and forth. Tons of people take it so seriously. You see guys screaming at players, and I learned that last year being on the field. I had tons of people screaming at me, and I think it's just good. It's just a lot of fun, though.
Sampson Nuclear also has a unique rivalry experience. After watching his older brother Kai play in rivalry games as a BYU Cougar, Sampson will be playing his 3rd as a Ute. As a freshman, he had 5 catches for 52 yards in a 19-13 win in Provo, including a 21-yard catch. In 2018, he had just 1 catch for 10 yards, but it was this touchdown, a part of the Utes' comeback from 20 down.
Being in it and really getting to hit people and score and then feel the crowd roaring at you or rooting against you, it's just a completely different feeling, and it's amazing, honestly. When you step on the field, either in the BYU stadium when we're playing or in our stadium, you can hear the roar, you can feel your ground shaking, your pads, everything shaking, and it's just crazy.
Utes wide receiver Tamar Simpkins grew up in the heart of the Florida football rivalries with Miami, Florida, and Florida State. He didn't know much about the BYU-Utah game, but he told us that once he got here, he started to look at the rivalry like those ones in Florida, and he says they're just as intense.
On the field, it's real intense. Like I said, it's going to be a lot of talking. But that's just the nature of the game. Everybody competitive. I know they're really competitive over there. We don't back down for nobody, for sure not them. So, it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be real intense, and I guarantee we're not starting slow this year. We starting off fast. We're going to get into them, and we're going to see what they're about.
Tyler Huntley will let his play do the talking. He started in the 2017 game, 27 of 36 for 300 yards, no touchdowns and no picks. But where he had the biggest impact was on the ground, 19 carries, 98 yards and a score. He didn't get a shot at BYU last year. A season-ending injury cost him that opportunity. Now as a senior, he hopes to do his part to keep the Ute streak alive.
Do you hear any of it? Do you block it out? Do you kind of use it as a motivation or anything?
No, not really, because they talk every year. So, you know what I'm saying? Nothing going to change from this year.
BYU running back Latina Katoa is another one of the players that experienced the rivalry as a kid in this community. And he loves everything about these types of matchups. He even compares it to his hometown high school rivalry.
You feel like the passion, like you hear it from everybody arguing back and forth. Like it's a big part of the state, and so I'm just I'm thankful I get to take part in it. I mean, I feel like any rivalry, honestly, like at any level, the feelings are the same. It might be a different level, but back when I was at AF, the AF Lone Peak, it was a similar feeling, but just on a bigger scale now. So